Welcome to the Off the Fritz podcast, honest conversations that explore life with intention.
Our podcast is a collection of honest stories and conversations with people who have learned and are continuing to learn to live with direction and intention, even when life gets crazy.
Our hope is that this podcast will inspire you and provide you the tools to start living with more intention and a sense of possibility and purpose.
Well, welcome to the Off the Fritz podcast, and our first episode's gonna start with us.
Welcome. Yeah, the best guest we could come up with was us. So we're starting a podcast. It's, man, was it
Hard.
It was hard. It was an interesting experience. It was maybe a bit shocking, a bit unexpected. I thought it'd be in some ways harder and in other ways easier. And I think I was wrong about virtually everything as far as my expectations were concerned.
Well, we had this idea of starting a podcast through just a lot of the relationships that we've made through our community on Instagram. I've had the opportunity to talk to all these different people from around the world, and it's like, man, I wish that I could share with you guys the conversations that I've been having behind the scenes. So yeah, here we are landing this podcast, but those conversations when we have a camera and tech difficulties and just learning how to have a conversation through Zoom and on a camera was just way more challenging than I thought.
There's a lot of new challenges. I always figure hey, I can talk fast. I know a few words, and I figured this would be easy. And at times it was easy. Actually, the best of times it was super easy, and other times it was really challenging. It was uncomfortable at times with people who were not uncomfortable to be around. But it's funny that connection through the camera and how that worked. But the best part about it is that I think that all the people that we talked with, it seemed like they weren't uncomfortable. Maybe they were hiding it better than we were, but they were great. I mean, we had such fun conversations, such insightful conversations with really smart people, and people who have a really neat set of experiences. That are just, I think, valuable for people, for us to hear, right?
So it was just a part of our adventure of learning how to do things together. We learned a lot through the experience of our first season, and we're super pumped to share it with you. So here's episode 1, starting with Kevin and I and our story of our journey to how did we become tiny home builders, and what are some things that we're passionate about, and just the adventure, bringing you up to speed, the adventure of us. So welcome to season 1. Hope you enjoy.
So we're doing a podcast.
We're starting a podcast.
This was not our idea, but here we are. It's become an exciting idea.
Yes.
So what is our podcast going to be about?
Well, I'm hoping that our podcast is all about just some of the things that we value so much in life and can kind of connect with other people around, and that's intentional living. It's just living life on purpose and knowing that the choices that you make every day can lead the trajectory of your life, so to say, right?
Yeah.
And we've only got one life to live, and let's live it well.
Yeah, we just want to talk with people that maybe were inspired by people who have taken a bit of a different course in life, or maybe it's not even different, but a course that's been very purposefully chosen, and one that they just decide, hey, this is who I want to be, this is what I want for myself or for my family, or and just said, hey, we're going to do this, and we're going to act, and we're going to push forward and find that place and aim towards that finish. Well, maybe not a finish. We're going to take that journey, let's say, right? I think these are inspiring people. They're interesting, and so, we have a really cool lineup of folks we get to talk to. I'm really excited about a lot of it.
I know, I am too. And I really see there's so much value in open and honest conversation. Yeah. And that's something that we value together as a couple so much, is just being able to sit and talk and hash through and explore and think and dream through conversation. And to be able to do that with our guests is what I'm so excited about, because I know that I learn through listening to the experiences of others. And the world it's a crazy place right now.
Yeah, it is.
It's nuts. And yet what we know to be true and real is that we can sit down and have an honest conversation. And I'm excited to talk to people with such a variety of perspectives, because I know that there's so much learning. And there's something about just the shared humanity of hearing somebody's story that you can just glean from. And I just hope it'll make the world a better place.
Well, and another thing I'm excited about is getting good at it, because I don't know that we are.
I know.
I mean, we're great at hanging out and chatting, and I hope that the podcast can be that eventually. Maybe not right away, but I hope it can be this place where we just get together with people, and it's as if we're sitting around the table just sharing stories and opinions and thoughts. And if we can manage that, well, let's see. If we can manage that, I think that'll be fun to listen to, and I think that maybe there's some worth and value in that. So, yeah, I hope that it can be this really natural, just place where we're friends, or old friends or new friends come together and just share with each other. And we'll see. I hope we can get good at that. The progression, I think, of it will be fun to watch.
But it's classic us.
Yeah.
It's classic us to just to be like, okay, what's next in life? This wasn't in the cards, but like, let's do
Let's
this.
do it.
And no soft starts. Let's just
No soft starts. Let's just do it.
Jump in with 2 feet.
Okay, well, so we're gonna be talking to these people that are maybe these people who are acting purposefully, who have this way of life, this intentional way of life, and I guess why do we want to talk with those people? It's like because that's who we feel we are, and who we want to become more of, I suppose. And so, I think one of the things that's gonna be important for me, I guess we're gonna talk to these like crazy people with these crazy wild stories and adventures, and I was like, I want people to know that it's like your thing, whatever it is you decide to do is super important. And it may not be like somebody else's crazy wild story. Maybe it's just your little thing, right? And that little thing, it's like, I guess I want to see it more as like less these events and more of this like direction, this journey. And I want to maybe that wasn't clear, but I want to make it clear to people that it's about like just making decisions, big, small, and other, to just head off, go in the right direction, decide what that direction is, and move. And it doesn't have to be this wild event, right? And I think that's important. And so, that being said, we are in the midst of this like wild event,
Yeah.
right? Where it's like, we started this company, this tiny home company, Fritz Tiny Homes, and we're like, we quit everything and just went for it.
Well,
the no soft starts. And
No soft starts, but let's take a moment. Like, why don't we share a bit of our journey and how we got here? Because it's the backstory behind it all.
Who are we?
Okay.
Who is Heather and Kevin? Who are we? Go.
Oh my goodness. We are Kevin and Heather Fritz. And we started our journey. I met Kev, and one of the things that Kev had dreamed about since the beginning, I remember in those dating days you saying, what do you think about living on the back of my parents' property? I want to build a log cabin. Like, would you be up for that? And you had your grandpa built his home in Edmonton. And then your dad and mom built their home, and you just had this burning itch and desire inside of you to build your own home. And I've always been up for adventure. I'm always up for going along for the ride.
You believe me.
I do.
You believe me. It's a great, maybe dangerous trait, but yeah. Sorry, go on.
So we started, and we wanted, the idea was that we were going to build on the back of your parents' property, but then your uncle had land beside mom and dad and wanted it to stay in the family, and just said, hey, would you guys be interested in purchasing this piece of property, which was wild and crazy. We were
not married yet.
No,
we were like months away from being married.
We were at summer camp. We were counseling team supervisors
working
at
with
that
kids,
time, and planning a wedding over a old-fashioned payphone.
That's right.
So crazy.
Yeah, man. That's right.
I had weekly calls with your mom and my mom planning this wedding through the payphone, and through it we get this. Do you want to buy the land? And we're like, do we want to buy the land? Like,
of course
we want to buy the land. Like, with what money? How do we buy the land?
Yeah, and our parents, helped us out.
Yeah, you're like, I want to build a house on the land, and it all came through.
Yeah. So we bought this land. We came back from camp, we got married, we moved into a little town nearby for months, only months.
3 months, 4 months.
That was tough for me, never being a guy who had lived in a town.
Yeah.
It was the big town with the people walking by in the alley, and it was weird for me.
You didn't like the night?
No, I didn't like the night. There's like people around. I'm used to coyotes being around, not
You're
people.
so fidgety, like you just with the noises.
I was like on guard. Anyway, so that didn't last long. I wasn't gonna stay in town long, so we moved out into the bus. We had that Edmonton City bus that that a friend had bought, kind of by accident, at an auction as a joke. And so we gutted that thing out and moved into the bus, and which was our first foray into the whole tiny home living life. At the time, we didn't know it was tiny home living because that wasn't, or at least to our knowledge, it wasn't a thing yet. And I'm sure it was, but just not to us it wasn't.
And we need to say here that like this was not those beautiful schooly and van conversions that you see out there. Like go on the Instagram, dig way down deep, and you will find this Edmonton city bus with
me and our new puppy, our
Bruno.
first member of the family, we had ripped all the seats out and thrown some furniture in, but it was awesome. It was fun. It was great. I use that as inspiration. I still use it as inspiration to our designs now. But what
best memory of the bus? Go.
Ooh, rain.
Yeah.
Sleeping in the rain. Yeah, and we had the emergency exits like lifted up, and we'd put screen in there. It was basically like taped on. So the mosquitoes wouldn't get us, and it'd be warm in the rain. There's no insulation. It was just loud. Yeah.
For me, it was like this one morning I was sitting on a lawn chair outside the bus, and the sun was coming up, and this rabbit was hopping
the rabbit
through the yard, and it kind of became like my rabbit. And it was just this idea of like, I'm living in the country, and I love this. It was such a sense of home in that moment, and my home was a bus.
Can we tell what happened to the rabbit?
No.
Okay, so here's the thing. So we have these scrapbooks. This is the thing. This is the thing I want to get to in this podcast too. I want to go behind the curtain. So we have new country girl Heather with her rabbit is like this idyllic little place, and she's got this rabbit that like every morning this rabbit's there. And we also have this new beautiful adorable little puppy that quickly grew into this giant adorable big dog.
Huge dog.
And you know what? We have pictures of this beautiful rabbit. This big dog ate this little rabbit.
Loved the rabbit.
Now, the reason I want to talk about this, because I think this is important. Like, we have this like Instagram presence. We have this hobby farm. We have this like, we're building these beautiful homes. We have these beautiful kids. And it's like, and that's what we show, and that's cool.
Well, it's the highlight reel. And if you don't know that, then yeah.
But there's a lot of work. There's a lot behind the scenes that goes into those beautiful animals and those beautiful kids, those beautiful homes. Mm-hmm. It's like the long hours that it took to get that together, and like the stresses and all that. And it's like, and I kind of want to get in this podcast. I want to get behind all that. I mean, it's I want people to understand that it's like this stuff that is like wildly important to us. These like these moments that are wildly valuable, wildly important, super important. Mm-hmm. But that journey that got us there was A, hard.
Yeah.
B, messy, and C, wildly important.
And I'd say D, always with us, an element of risk. There was always a moment that we stood there and we're like, do we jump or do we not?
Yeah.
Because it could crash and burn.
Yep.
But I don't know, we've always had a confidence that together we'd be able to do it.
Yeah. So I want to celebrate those photos.
Yeah.
But I guess I want to acknowledge and celebrate what it took to get there. Because I think that's something that like in the context of a conversation with people is like, hey, this is who you are. How did you get there?
Yeah.
Right? And let's celebrate both those things.
I love the backstory.
Mm-hmm.
I always in life, I love the backstory. And I think that you probably see that through our Instagram. There's just something about story and connecting pieces together that I just naturally always have gravitated towards is what's the story behind this? Or what's the story behind every one of our builds? Like there's just always that arc of this is our next build. This is who it's for. And let's journey along and tell the story from start to finish. And I think that's super beautiful.
Right. Okay.
Okay, so we're in
our adorable rabbit that gets eaten by our dog.
Okay,
go on.
Back. So we built our home in the country.
Yes.
We lived in a bus. Kev spent his days, I was working, it started at Starbucks and then working at a school.
Yeah.
No, Starbucks, Second Cup, Canadian version.
Ooh,
Come on
shoot.
here. Remember the details, Heather. And you were working, you were building our home from the ground up.
Yeah, just figured it out as we went along. I mean, I didn't even have the internet. I mean, internet was there, but I was Luddite, so I didn't even have YouTube to tell me how to do it. I'd go to like Home Depot and go into the Plumbing for Dummies book and like read everything I could before not buying the book because we didn't have any money, right? So
no money.
And we just like fought it out. We gutted it out. It was at times horrible.
Well, I remember
at times,
the time that it was minus 35 and there was
Celsius.
Yeah. It was a snow day.
Yeah.
Everything wasn't working and you and a buddy were trying so hard to get that roof on.
Yeah.
And so he wasn't working on his framing crew.
He was a real framer. That's
He was a real
what he
framer.
did.
And they weren't working because it was
So he
too
was able to
cold.
help me because it was too cold to frame.
And you guys were up there and you're like, hey, is there any way that you can just shovel the snow out of this place so that we can put tools down and stuff? And I'm like standing at the top of our house, shoveling snow and going,
Out of our master
after
bedroom.
Master Bedroom, I'm like, I think I'll always remember this because one day, maybe one day, I will have a roof on this and I'm going to have a real vacuum and I'm going to vacuum this floor and not shovel the snow out.
And you know what it was? It was like not looking at it as like, hey, we're gonna, well, I mean, he's like, listen, we're gonna build a house.
Yeah.
We don't know how to do that exactly. We're gonna get there. We're gonna build this house. But then it wasn't like you wake up in the morning and be like, okay, time to build a house.
Yeah.
It was like, you'd wake up in the morning, it was like, okay, time to finish this section of the roof.
Yeah.
And I think that if we woke up every morning saying, time to build a house, we never would have got out of bed.
No.
And maybe that's, I guess that was an important lesson to learn. I mean, that took us to this now where we are now. It's like whether it was raising a family, it was like we didn't say, hey, time to have 4 kids. We said, all right, time to have a kid, and raise this kid and start this, and then time to have another, and take it one step at a time. However, we kind of knew, strangely enough, that we wanted to have 4 kids, which was super ignorant at the time. But
Well, there's something that just drew us like to a large family.
yeah.
And we always thought like, oh man, I want 4 because I just want so many kids
We
to
knew
come
what we
home
wanted.
at Christmas. And
We just didn't know what we wanted.
Yeah.
Yeah. And
wanted it.
we were lucky. We were right on that one. But yeah.
So yeah, mid house being finished, mid that we kind of moved in. We're room by room. We just finished the home room by room. Like our master bedroom was first. My kitchen was in the garage. I remember cooking turkey dinner and having the family over to like a completely unfinished main floor, and it was cold.
But it was an unfinished house, and it was already becoming the hub
Yes.
of our community.
Yeah.
Because at the end of the day, that's why we did it.
Absolutely.
Right? That's why we did it.
We wanted the home in the country, and we wanted a home with room because community is everything to Kev and I, and we love it. Like, just we have a table that Kev built. It's a walnut wooden table.
It's
and
giant.
It's giant. The room was designed around it, and you can fit 14 adults around the table, and with
And we
kids,
do.
and we do.
Yeah.
Almost every weekend we have our community over, and it's everyone bring what you got and come sit.
Yeah.
And it's some of the most soul-filling times of our lives to have just kids running around and eating good food and just talking real life. It's awesome. So mid-house, you got a job.
I got a job. I didn't want a job, but I got a job. Yeah.
know.
And it was awesome. It was a great job. And I did it for 12 years. And it was just one more piece of that puzzle. Which
Well, what did you do?
essentially, what did I do? I was started as a carpenter building like these high-end custom stairs. Like honestly, the wildest stuff I could imagine as what was essentially a hobbyist carpenter. I mean, I built a house or most of a house at the time, but I was still essentially a hobbyist, right?
Yeah.
And I got to learn from like the best.
Yeah.
The best. And I got to learn to do the best. And it taught me to be a perfectionist there, where I'm not a perfectionist. But I was able to like step in and like, no, when I'm here, I'm a perfectionist. And that was cool. It actually, I mean, if we want to go into that, it taught me that it's like sometimes you gotta wear the right hat for the job, even if it's not who you are. It's like, no, but this is who I need to be successful at this. And I think that's even was an incredibly valuable lesson to me, where it's like, I don't have to be a perfectionist when I'm off the clock, but when I get on the clock, it's like, this is who I am. And
I loved watching you in that job. Like, okay, I have to just take a moment because what you were designing was mind-blowing. And
I did go from carpentry into then design,
Yeah.
project management, and dealing with people and like helping to design their
And your
Their dreams
staircases
for that.
were delivered like all over North
Yeah,
America.
it's
Like
cool.
you have stairs in Maui and California and Pennsylvania and
New York. And,
just
yeah,
breathtaking.
it was fun.
It allowed you to just exercise that deep desire. Well, when you were young, you wanted to be a rodeo clown and an architect.
Yeah, that was lofty aspirations. Neither of those turned out. But anyway, I realized I don't like school, so I should have done the rodeo clown thing. But anyway, so yeah, that job was one more step to getting to where we are now.
Yeah.
And that was essentially leaving that job.
Yeah, which you got to this place in that job where we just saw you in the last couple years. There, just the fire in you wasn't there anymore for that, and I think I don't know. There's a lot of things that go into it. Like, kind of hit a ceiling with your abilities there, and you're a grower, and you need to be, Kevin and I always need to be moving forward.
Yeah.
Like if we're not moving forward and it just becomes a stagnant place, both of us just get restless, and I don't know, we just lose that fire. And you were depressed.
Yeah, there's times, and where for me it's
really
crazy. To me, like, you learn this about yourself as you grow up, I suppose. You learn this, like, who you are, what makes you happy, what gets you out of bed in the morning, right?
Yeah.
And for me, it's growth. I need to grow. I need to have an opportunity to learn and to, I don't know. And that's not to say, like, I would say that I'm an abnormally content person.
You are.
Which sounds at total odds with this growth mentality. Like, I love life. Like, I love what we have. I love where we are. I love today. And I'm just like, maybe it's that love for today that makes me so excited for tomorrow. And then wanting to make tomorrow more and better.
Yeah.
And so that's, for me, I needed a place where I could build something, where I could grow something. And I know that we're very similar in this way. And so we knew it was like, no, we need our own. I felt like we were kind of raising somebody else's kid.
Yeah.
But no, it was time to have our own. And
So we were just stuck at this spot of like, what are we going to do? And part of our journey is that we've always ended up landing in the same place together.
yeah,
Like
we're always a team.
we're always a team.
Yeah.
So building our house, I was right in there. You were teaching me how to learn. I was on the tools and just like helping. Like,
Yeah.
I did not grow up that
Didn't
way.
lose any fingers.
All fingers intact. I learned a ton. And then at the job that you were at, I ended up coming in too. And I started with marketing and helping to market that company, and started opening up the US division of their company, and just give me something to learn, give me something to grow, give me something to develop, and I'm happy. And so we just looked at each other and we were like, okay, we need to start our own company. Let's really use all of our experience, our skill sets, who we are as people, and let's launch in. And we were on a date in Edmonton, and we have this place that we love to walk. It's just off of Jasper with the route
Overlooking the river valley. And
we're walking hand in hand, and we're just talking, okay, what's it gonna be? Like, what's the job? And I don't know how tiny homes.
it was kind of there. The idea was there.
Yeah.
It was just this loose thought more than an idea. And it hit hard.
Yeah.
And the second we thought about it, that was it. It was
know.
like, we almost felt like we were being irresponsible. And like, it's like, yeah, no, that's it. That's what we're going to do. And then we were like, well, we should do our due diligence and figure this stuff out. But it didn't matter. We knew.
Yeah.
And so it was awesome. The timing was so great. We made that decision. And literally the next weekend, there was a tiny home conference. And we're like, well, let's go. Let's find out more about these homes. Let's find out more specifically about the people who want to live in these homes, and find out who these people were. And we left that. We just left that excited. We're like, yeah.
Well,
we're going to find our place here.
It was so affirming to go sit in a room with, it was 25 to 30 people who had paid money to come into a tiny house conference.
Like good money. Like
Good
this
money.
is serious folks, right?
Taught by Kenton Zerbin. He just is an incredible advocate and teacher. He's so passionate, and taught everything that weekend, right? From all tiny home systems to design to how to live off the land, permaculture, on and on. And I just studied the room. I studied the people. We had so many amazing conversations. It was such a sense of community.
Yeah.
And we walked away, and I knew that you had something to offer the industry.
Yes.
And I knew that these are the people that I want to serve.
Yeah, no, it was great. And so we knew we were going to do this, and we also kind of wanted to we liked being outsiders a little bit.
Yeah.
So this community, just like, it's like, yeah, you're one of us now, but our experiences were from the outside world. Yeah, no, our experiences were from outside of this, and we've really tried to almost stay that way, where it's like, we don't want to come at this, we don't want to do what's been done before, right? And so we're trying to approach this in a different way. We want to be inspired by different things. We don't want to reinvent the wheel. We want to take that wheel and bring everything else that there is available and just build on top of it and grow it. And we've really, I don't know, I guess we found a bit of success doing that in this company.
Well,
and,
it's been mind blowing. Like I never anticipated this. Like we started with, okay, we're gonna dive in, we're gonna do this, we're gonna jump in with 2 feet, we're gonna like financially like take out the line of credit, use the equity in the house. Like it was
all or nothing.
It's all or nothing.
Yeah.
It was we need to be honest how much of a risk that it was.
Yeah.
We didn't have a buyer for the first house, but we just knew we had to start and now is the time. And so we started building that and we're like, we need to tell this story.
Yeah.
I know that it's going to end well, but let's be vulnerable and tell the story. And so we started Instagram and just thought this would be a great platform to kind of share the visualness of the house. And we thought someone's going to buy this at the end. Maybe they're going to want to know who made this. And there's no hiding that it's like...
No, we didn't know that. We wanted them to know
yes.
who made this.
Yeah.
You know, we felt like it's like, well, I would want to know. Maybe somebody, if we were able to tell them that story of their home, they'd want to be a part of it. Rather than just be like, oh, here's the keys to that thing you just bought.
Yeah.
It's like, no. Here's the story to that thing that we were building for you. And it's like, this isn't just a home, it's your home, right? And that's the approach we've taken. And it seems to resonate with people, right?
Mm-hmm. And it sure resonated with the buyer. And
yes.
she came in mid-build and saw the story of this place, she knows us personally, saw all that we were putting into it, the dreams of the future. And she said, I want to own the first Fritz. And I want you to complete it and I want you to finish it. She didn't want one touch different. And what a gift that was, because that first tiny house was just so much of us and our vision for tiny living in our way. And so to be able to complete like that first one ourselves was a gift. And then we had no idea what would come from that.
See, it's funny, at the time, that was a huge gift. Even more so at the time than I feel like it is now. Because at the time, I felt like this is going to be my one chance to do exactly what I believe should be done, exactly what I want to do. And I didn't really want that taken from me, in a sense. Because like, I'll never get this opportunity again. And the funny thing is that I was wrong. Because I thought that was like the top of the mountain, where it's like, it's all me, it's all what I get to do. And I was wrong. Because the honest truth is that being an interpreter for somebody else's like vision and dreams and life is way more fulfilling. And I had no clue. I was like, this is one thing that I love about what we're doing. It's like realizing that like this home is not the end of a journey. It's the beginning of somebody's journey. And that I had no idea. Yeah, I had no clue. It's so fun. It's so fulfilling. It's satisfying.
The people are my absolute favorite of what we do. Mm-hmm. Like to journey alongside our clients and to help them get to that end goal. And we get it. We know what it's like to live off the beaten path. You know, we're the crazy Fritzes. Like we live this like very full life that is messy. 4 kids, give me the next adventure. Let's put those kids in the van and let's go skiing and let's go hiking and mountain biking and Jilly's on your back and we're just willing to just go, like we're the best outside. And we have this hobby farm that we love to connect with our kids on, inspired by our kids, really.
Yeah, actually,
is where that came from.
Yeah.
That was Hudson.
That wasn't our idea.
Nope. And through that, I've been able to reconnect with the side of myself that it's cool. My grandpa was a dairy farmer and he was such a quiet, amazing man. And I just remember walking in the gardens with him and it was just being in his presence that was so soothing for me, and feeding cows with the baby bottle and that sort of thing. And I came into the house last year and I said to Kev, I came in the house and I just really wish that I could sit down with my grandpa and write him a letter. I just wanted him to know that like those days that he spent with me out there where no words were spoken, I said, I think he'd be so proud of the daughter that he has now because I got the hobby farm and I'm now out there with my kids and sharing these moments where you just don't even need to speak. You just need to see the beauty and you just need to care for the things together, and it's just super meaningful.
Yeah.
I'm emotional there, but yeah, it's a beautiful place. It's also an extremely messy place because there is death and there is predators and there is poop and there is cleaning and there is, you grow something one year and it's great. It doesn't happen the next year. You try this, you try that. It's like, it's our huge learning experiment back there.
Yeah, it's learning for us and learning for our kids. It's like an incredible tool. It's an incredible experiential tool for our kids to learn about the messy realities of life, I suppose, right? But it's interesting. Yeah, we talk about but we're obviously like we love today and we're pushing for the future. But yeah, it's this, like Heather said, it's this past that gave us this in a sense.
And so we want to take this podcast and we just want to honor the space.
Yep.
We want to just honor the conversations. It's an absolute privilege to think of the 13 guests that we get to talk to this year.
We want to honor their past.
We want to honor them.
The stories that have brought them to their presence, and we want to know their future and their dreams and where they hope to take that, and hopefully be inspired by it, and hopefully that we can inspire you guys by that as well.
And just hope that if there's anything out of this, that really what it would be is that there's always a seat at the table for you, your perspectives, your vision for life, and to know that wherever you want to go in life, choose it. Yeah. Just take that little step and just go from it. Like, go for it. Like, live from the heart and live in a way where you're living from your heart, but also listening to all the stories around you.
Yeah. So we're really excited about this new journey for us. It is inspiring to us, the opportunity to talk with people, some new people, get to know them, or maybe get to go deeper with some old people that we've known for forever. And we hope that it's inspiring to you guys. We hope we're excited about it. We hope that maybe there's some interest there for you guys as well. So come along with us. Let's see where it all goes. So thanks, guys. I guess this is the introduction to the Off the Fritz podcast. Thanks, guys.
Thank you.
Hey, thanks for listening to our first ever podcast. I hope you enjoyed it. To be honest, hey, it wasn't that bad.
It wasn't that bad. It was fun.
It was fun. I can't believe I cried on camera. And that is not the first. So
probably won't be the last.
Yeah, these conversations are real and honest and vulnerable and just honestly what we hoped they would be.
Yep. Absolutely. So
for more on us and our journey and life, we share a lot of that on Instagram at fritztinyhomes.com. And then if you want to be notified on all of the upcoming episodes, subscribe to our YouTube channel, click that notification bell so that you know. And yeah, that's where to find us.
Thanks, guys.